Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Brawn Body Podcast. I'm sorry this is coming a week late. I was struggling last week. I got sick. Luckily, it was not coronavirus. At least the symptoms did not match up. I did not get tested, but we're in the clear now. And I'm really excited to bring you this episode. This one's very relevant right now. So today we're going to be talking all about sedentary life, sitting at home, not really doing anything. And I'm very excited to introduce a good friend of mine. His name's Jon Harned. He's someone I've lifted with in the gym before, and he's a very dedicated individual. He just goes full throttle at everything he does. A little bit about him. He's about to graduate from Lebanon Valley College with his doctorate degree in physical therapy, and he's already holding many advanced training certifications, including a PBFR or blood flow restriction certification. And I'd love to have him back later for another episode about blood flow restriction training because he is very well versed in the topic. After he graduates, he's heading to Johns Hopkins University Hospital for a sports physical therapy residency. So he's going to be way up there with some amazing people, and he's already been with some amazing people. One of his clinical rotations was with the Cleveland Indians. So he spent 8 weeks working with a Major League Baseball team, which is an incredible experience. So for more about Jon, you can check him out on his Instagram page at jharned_14. But as I alluded to, today we're discussing the topic of sedentary time and what that is. Sedentary time is basically when we're not moving, when we're not doing anything, no activity, no muscle contraction, nothing. And, well, with the COVID-19 appearing to continue for the next few weeks, if not longer, I know a lot of people have talked to me about, they feel like they're not really doing anything, they're not able to stay active, they're just, they're worried about things, and they're staying in, which again, we are supposed to be social distancing and all, but I just want to touch on what it means to be sedentary, what effects that's going to have on your body, and how to prevent the harmful effects of being sedentary from carrying out their detrimental effects on your body, on your life, on your health, and all that. So without further ado, we'll dive on in. So I want to start by talking about what I call the sedentary lifestyle trap. So as I mentioned in the intro here, physical inactivity or being sedentary, not moving, is basically not meeting physical activity guidelines. And according to the ACSM, American College of Sports Medicine, those guidelines are 150 minutes per week of moderate intensity physical activity, 75 minutes a week of vigorous intensity activity, or a combination of both. So what that would look like is 5 days a week doing a 30-minute moderate intensity walk. That's all it takes to be considered active. And it's concerning because a large majority of Americans are inactive. And we tend to turn to sedentary activities for comfort in life. So our lives are very stressful, especially now. There's, a lot happening, a lot going on, but even without the virus, think about your daily workday, your daily schedule. Odds are, if you're like most Americans, it's pretty stressful. You might be working a 10 to 12 hour day. You might be a college student, a high school student, applying for colleges, taking classes. You might be someone who's taking care of a family, whatever it might be. Americans in general tend to live very stressful lives, and we tend to use sedentary activities as a source of downtime, a source of escape, comfort. So stuff like watching TV, watching a movie, just kind of sitting around on our phones, playing video games, whatever. And the thing is, in moderation, I believe these things are okay. Like if you want to, watch, I don't know, say you want to watch a half-hour TV show on Netflix Monday night and Wednesday night every week. I don't see anything wrong with that, and I want to make that clear from the start. However, we do too much of this. So according to Mike Matthews' book, The Little Black Book of Workout Motivation, Mike's a excellent, very intelligent individual trainer in regards to a lot of different things about exercise, workouts, really like his stuff. But in his book, The Little Black Book of Workout Motivation, he presents the fact that the average American spends 5 hours per day watching TV. So think about that. 5 hours a day watching TV. So think about how long your average show that you watch is. Maybe half hour maybe. And on average, we watch 5 hours a day. That stat blows my mind. Being sedentary feels good. And once we get in that sedentary state, it's very hard to break it. It's just very enticing to us because, we're not really doing anything. However, it can, have negative effects on our physical health, but also our mental health as well. So one study pointed out that changes in sedentary behavior predicted changes in mental well-being in a sample of younger, healthy adults. So people about my age, young 20s, and oddly enough, this is the group that seems to be really stressing out right now with the virus because of the economic impact. A lot of people don't have work right now. A lot of students are, at home and, missing out on things like graduation, classes with their friends, time with their friends, all that stuff. And then I'd also like to add to that, this article points out that decreasing daily sedentary time by 60 minutes, so cutting out 1 hour of sedentary time, may prevent or significantly attenuate the negative effects of sedentary time on mental well-being. So do a little gut check here. See how much time you spend not doing anything at all on a daily basis, and then try and reduce that by 1 hour. And maybe you always go to your phone when you're sedentary. That makes this a lot easier because now you can just look at your screen time and say, okay, I need to cut out 1 hour of screen time somewhere during my day, throughout my day. So that's my little challenge for you here is find a way to cut back on your sedentary time. If you're someone who plays video games or watches TV or whatever, you can get creative with this. If you're playing a video game, try and switch to like one of the Nintendo Wii games if you still have a Wii. I know you can go really hard and get real intense in something like Wii tennis if you're doing it right, if you're standing up and moving around with it. Or if you're watching TV, maybe getting up and doing something during the commercials, or if you have a treadmill at home, put the treadmill in front of the TV, so then you're at least walking while you're watching TV. All right, and next we're going on to why sedentary time is bad. So John and I are just gonna kind of sit back and discuss this for a while. So John, based on what you've seen so far, and 3 years of PT grad school, all that sort of thing, how do you see sedentary time impacting just general population, average American?
I mean, the whole shift with, society moving towards just there's a lot of more desk jobs than, way back when, with increased technology, support teams, things like that. So a lot of people are just spending increased time sitting, whether that be due to job related stuff, driving to and from work, just not having, the feasibility within their day to kind of get up and move. Just a lot of time is spent sitting. So that, is obviously going to affect, obviously, their health, lead to poor health related outcomes. But in addition, you can kind of see the way, the United States is kind of going with increased obesity rates. I feel there's a pretty strong correlation between that, sedentary time, job related stuff, and just kind of lifestyle choices. So, it has a major impact on the general population. You take a family with several kids, that factors in. So trying to find the time to be active, can actually be difficult with, all the life factors that, everyday people face on a general basis.
Right. It sounds like people are basically just becoming domesticated, for lack of a better term. And like you're alluding to there, the comorbidities that come with being sedentary are just incredible. I mean, from obesity, diabetes, metabolic syndrome, cholesterol levels, blood pressure, hypertension, um, different cancers even are related to sedentary time. Like, it is insane.
And it's
Uh,
crazy because a lot of it can be preventative. That's the whole idea of shifting healthcare to, primary prevention, taking, excess strain and healthcare dollars, and put them into some form of, or taking excess strain off the hospitals and the other medical facilities and putting, money into primary prevention to reduce that strain. Because a lot of this, it's just related to, moving, kind of just getting up, moving around, stretch breaks, walking, just kind of living an active lifestyle. We won't even get into like eating habits right now, but just kind of getting up and, getting moving. And sometimes it's hard. I mean, some people work, 10, 12-hour days behind a desk, and then they have to go home and, take care of the kids, if the kids are school age, kind of, get, their food ready, make dinner, the whole nine. So for some people, it's actually really hard to, kind of find that time to throughout their day to move and stuff like that. Or, if they're on the run a lot, maybe, your job requires you to fly constantly, they're always locked into a computer. So it can be difficult. And, that's the reality of our situation. And the biggest thing is, we got to find time to kind of move around, to kind of, not only combat that stuff, as a country, as a nation, but also just, as an individual, kind of making that shift to promote a more active lifestyle and healthy environment for yourself, for your family, for your kids, whatever, what have you.
right. And of all people to attest to having the ability to break up sedentary time, I feel like you're one of the best to talk to, because I know your schedule and I've seen you working, whether it be in graduate school classes or in clinical rotations. And you always seem to still be able to, get your daily step goal in, stay loose, stay moving around. So, are there any tips or tricks that you found really helped you over the past several years, despite putting in, 80, 90-hour weeks for clinical and, crazy study sessions, finals, all that sort of thing?
I mean, a lot of that too. I mean, I have tricks. So like I have, my Apple Watch or my app on my phone that tracks my steps, and I always try to shoot for 10,000 a day or trying to up the last day. So those are little tricks you can do. Try to get up every 30 to 45 minutes, whether 10-minute walk or right now I'm in Arizona. So with the whole virus thing, currently not being in clinic, between my studying for the boards, I'll do an hour of studying and then go for a little walk, and try to find little time throughout your day of non-productive time to you and shift that towards productive time. So that's the biggest thing, is kind of looking back in your day, whatever you like to do, leisure, for breaks or leisure, whether it be like watch Netflix or, play games or, do whatever. Try to, there's times for all of that. It's just kind of trying to find how can you maximize and be the most productive with your time. And for me, playing college baseball, I've been, big into, health and fitness, lifting. So that was kind of always, been, goals of mine and things that I'd like to do to kind of keep moving. So that has helped me a little bit, but it's just trying to maximize the time, within your day. Everybody gets 24 hours. Some take more advantage of it than others. And I'm not saying, for people, you have to go out, and, try to, limit your sleep and do all of this. Just whatever your goals are in life, whether it be health and wellness or spending more time with family or increasing, your financial independence. With any of those, it's just trying to maximize, the time with, that you have, those 24 hours, or, let's subtract some hours for sleep, and trying to be the most productive with them.
Mm-hmm. No, that definitely makes sense. Do you know of any? I know a lot of people tend to struggle with staying on task. They struggle with being disciplined, and that's something guys like Mike Matthews and Jocko Willink, I might have said his last name wrong, but they preach that stuff. Jocko's got his whole line there: discipline equals freedom. Are there any other books or any other guys like that you see that have really kind of helped you stay the course or stay the path, so to speak?
I mean, Mike Matthews is big in my kind of, reading realm. His book, The Little Black Book of Workout Motivation, was, actually, an amazing book. I actually sent it to you. So I took a lot from that. But the biggest things, Eric Thomas, he's like a motivational speaker for, a lot of Division I teams, pro teams. He comes in, and I listen to his podcast. He's a good guy. Actually don't know the name of it, but Eric Thomas is the gentleman who does it. He's a big motivational speaker. And the biggest thing that I've kind of seen with anybody who writes the books about setting goals or things like that is it's finding your why. So like, why do you get up every day to do the things that you do, and link those to your short-term and long-term goals? Whatever your long-term goal is, whatever it is, you map out a way or a plan or a journey of how you're going to get there. Write down your goals, short-term and long-term, and studies have actually shown that people who write down goals are more likely to achieve those goals than people who just have goals and don't write them down. Put them in a place where you're going to see them every morning, every day, whether it be in a bathroom mirror or something. And it might sound cheesy, but it actually works. And just, realize why you're doing the things that you're doing to get to where you want to be. Those days where you don't feel like waking up early, those days that you just don't feel like getting out of bed, have those goals there, or just kind of think of like, why am I putting in all this effort now? And then it makes, it kind of almost makes that grind or that trench work or, whatever it is that you're doing almost a little bit more enjoyable. And
Right.
one thing that one kind of quote, and I'm paraphrasing, I don't think it's exactly, what it is or perfect. It was actually by Eric Thomas, is, when you're grinding and stuff like that, when you come to a peak or the top of a mountain, it that peak is only there to show you how far you've come. You're always going to have to keep going, keep progressing. Once you knock down one goal, set another goal and stuff like that. So when you actually get to that peak or that, reach that goal, looking back, you're going to be like, damn, I can do this. I just busted through all of that. I'm going to keep going. You never want to get stagnant. You never want to get comfortable. We want to be comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Right. I like that analogy. I like that analogy a lot. And it's almost like being too sedentary and just kind of throwing in the towel, giving up, watching your, 6-hour Netflix binge or whatever is putting you in the opposite direction. Like using that analogy, it's like we've got a mountain. And if you start grinding and get going, you'll get to the top. But if you just kind of sit down with, your hands in your pockets, you fall and slip further and further down that mountain. And because you're falling down, it's almost like this downward spiral. And that's something that ties into the chronic diseases we touched on a little bit ago, is a lot of these conditions, whether it be the obesity, the type 2 diabetes, what have you, when someone's diagnosed with one, it tends to lead to the causation of more and more chronic diseases. We know obesity and diabetes are closely linked. We know that's closely linked with cardiovascular disease. So it's all kind of connected, and it's easy to see how you can build yourself up. If you don't do anything, you can just as easily slip on down.
Right.
Oh, that's good. I like that.
Right. And a lot of the times the hardest part is to take that initiative or to, take that step to, especially, with some of the major health conditions, whether it be obesity or just lack of activity in general, excuse me. One of the hardest things is just taking that initiative, especially if you don't have a support system. I think the support system is huge. And, regarding anything in life, health and fitness, whatever, you want to surround yourself with, people who are going to support you and push you and things like that. So a lot of times people just don't have the support system or even that just nudge to be like, let's go, let's get after it, whatever it may be. So, that's another factor that plays a role into everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, you're definitely right about that. Speaking of support system and just people in general, there's a lot of different types of people out there. And I'm just wondering, do you think sedentary time is always bad for everyone? I mean, we've got, all kinds of extremes out here in America. We've got cross-country athletes running 100+ miles a week. We've got people who are spending, 5-6 hours a day watching TV. We've got people who, never sit down, never slow down. We've got all kinds of extremes here. And I mean, when we think of guys like LeBron, would sedentary time be good for him? Would it be good for people who are struggling with chronic diseases? Maybe they have COPD and obesity or something like that.
So this is a lot kind of goes into a question like this, and depending on who it is. So for the individuals who have are battling comorbidities or who already have decreased activity levels, sedentary time will impact them negatively. It's going to it's going to be their health related problems are going to increase exponentially just with everything that they kind of got going on. So trying to be active as much as you can within the scope of your medical condition, your healthcare provider, if you're in therapy, going, based on the, exercise related guidelines and stuff like that is, key. Now, everybody benefits obviously from some sort of rest period. So now kind of looking at the athlete, whether it be, college, professional, sedentary time for them may not impact them as much as somebody who has comorbidity. So if you take, I was a college athlete, I played baseball at LVC, practice, games, you're going 6 days a week, taking that Sunday doing absolutely nothing, vegging out a little bit might probably won't affect me that much, because I'm going to go back to work on Monday with school, practice, and start moving it, actually might benefit me being on your feet, having all that time, doing vigorous activity, having some sort of down period to relax might benefit me. And it, might not impact me as much as somebody who has so many comorbidities. So I think it depends on who it is, the extent of the time period of the sedentary behavior. Obviously, for anybody sitting down all day, not moving at all, is going to affect them negatively. So I think you have to kind of look at the whole picture with something like that. But definitely with people with comorbidities, trying to just break that time up. I'm not saying go out and, move a whole bunch, but trying to do some form of activity within the scope of your abilities within, whatever you're battling, and, whatever, your healthcare provider deems as appropriate, as well as, if you're in therapy, is definitely kind of something to kind of look at for everything.
No, I definitely agree with you there. And I think that's a great perspective on things. And we kind of touched already on how you break up your sedentary time. But just to kind of bring it back here, for anyone who might be listening who's saying, okay, I'm convinced I need to get up and move around more, they're just looking for more ideas. I know my fitness watch, I have a Garmin, and it vibrates every so often, giving me a reminder to get up and move around. I know we've talked before about the concept that we call greasing the groove, which is basically just doing throughout your day, doing some walking, doing some stretching, some, basic body weight exercises, lunges, squats, stuff you can do anywhere, and just keep yourself moving and get your joints loosened up and muscles loosened up. And then two things I found beneficial, especially since studying at home when I'm not getting as much movement in as I normally do, is I like to stand up to study instead of sitting down. I had that inguinal hernia surgery back in December, and I've noticed my hip flexors have been very tight since then, probably just due to where they attach the mesh. But I've noticed that since I've been standing, my hips have been more loose, and overall, I'm just seeing better mobility, especially in exercises like my squats, from that. And then this last one I've been doing, and I know you're huge on this too, is trying to take stuff on the go, whether it be, going for a walk or jumping on a treadmill, and take a page of notes with you or pull something up on your phone and just try and use that time productively.
Yeah, I do. Other than my lifts, you kind of talked about your Garmin watch. I have the Apple Watch, that notifies me, oh, it's time to stand, and it actually has like the three rings on there, and you can kind of close your rings. You can set goals for exercise times, number of hours that you did standing, and then what's the other one, calories. And the other thing I like with the Apple Watch, I'm not familiar with the Garmin or other watches, is you can share that activity with friends, and do like weekly challenges, and like you get updates on what they did during the day, and like so you can kind of have like a friendly competing thing like that. I like doing my walks, especially when it's nice outside. Sunshine's always good. From definitely being inside all day, or in a, kind of opens up the lungs, get some fresh air. But yeah, bringing kind of stuff with you that you can review. Obviously, if you have new notes that you're going over, if you're in school, that's going to be a little bit, harder. But as you kind of get better at them, you can kind of pull them up on your phone, or you can bring stuff with me. I bring some written notes down. I'll go take a walk, and like, when you do that, it makes the time go by, so much faster. So then you'll find yourself walking like 15, 20 minutes, and you're like, oh, wow, I didn't even realize that. So it's kind of little like hacks like that to kind of break it up. Do some stretching throughout the day. I start every morning. I do like 20, 25 minutes of mobility work just to loosen up, especially when you first wake up in the morning. You're so stiff from laying down for however long you're sleeping. But it's, just finding little times throughout your day to kind of, try to kill two birds with one stone, so to speak. And then then
Right,
having a goal
definitely.
for like steps. So like for me, I try to do at least 10K. I've actually been averaging 15K, so I've now upped my goal to 15,000. So it's like right now I'm a little down, so I'm gonna go for a walk after this. But it's like once you have that goal, it's like, all right, I gotta meet it. I can't, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like you said, with the friend challenges there on the fitness apps, that's something I didn't even think about. But I know Fitbit and I'm pretty sure Garmin both have those options built into their apps where you can add friends and do like weekday challenges or weekend warrior challenges for steps or whatever.
Yeah, no,
So bringing in a little friendly competition is always a good
and that's
good
great. And
idea.
like nobody really likes to work out alone or be active alone. It's just a little bit harder, especially when you're first starting. And everything right now going on with COVID-19 and quarantining yourself in social isolation. That is one way I think that you can kind of break up that isolation. Like, although I can't see my buddy or I got to distance myself or whatever extent you're taking it, you can at least kind of use a challenge like that to kind of, if you're kind of quarantining yourself, whatever reasons, you can kind of do that little self challenge through that and kind of make it a fun game.
Right. Last thing, this was something I had just thought of. Um, in your PT experience thus far, you're about to take the boards in a couple weeks, like it's almost here, almost official. Has there been any differentiation between quality and quantity of steps? And what I mean by that is like, take someone who runs, for example. They might get their 10,000 steps in, but 8,000 steps were while they were running versus just 10,000 steps throughout the day or 12,000 steps throughout the day of just walking. Like, would the running be better even though it's less steps or like
So,
that sort of thing?
so I, my personal kind of take on it is like, I try to get 10,000 steps regardless. I don't, or, whether that be in addition to the cardio I do in the morning, or if I'm on a bike, I just shoot for 10,000. I don't try to do, I need 10,000 steps, of walking in general. Obviously, if you do something more vigorous, whether it be, walking on a bike or, going for a run, um, that's going to have a little bit more quality than just general light, you know, low intensity walking, from just a fitness standpoint, cardiovascular, calorie burning, general fat burning statement. So for me personally, I just kind of shoot for just 10,000 steps, whether it be running, whether it's calculated cycling, walking. But obviously if it's in the higher intensity, the better quality it's going to be, if that makes sense. I just, my main thing is
Right,
to just
right.
get up and move. Whether, whatever
Yeah,
it is, shoot for whatever goal you have in your head. It doesn't have to be 10,000. It could be 5,000. Just kind of shoot for something, and however you get there is how you get there. You know,
yep,
everybody gets,
that makes sense.
point A to point B. Everybody has their own path of getting there, but eventually you'll get there. Just to whatever route you take, as long as you get there.
Agreed.
Yeah. Here,
Well,
actually, this brought
think that's,
this just popped up in my head too, and it's one of those things. It's like,
yep.
say somebody would rather run than walk, or walk than run, or do walk on a treadmill but an incline. Do whatever is enjoyable for you. um especially now
Yeah,
with,
that's a good point.
everything going on. If you just want to go out for an hour bike ride, if you like biking, then go for a bike ride. If you don't like biking and want to, go for a walk, or go for a hike if you can somewhere. Do something that's fun, that's going to promote activity and kind of break up those sitting times.
No, that's a very good point because, like we say, running, and some people might shudder at the thought of running, and that might bring back like
Right.
old injuries or pains or anything like that. And especially right now, when we're living in such high stress, high demand times, putting your body through more demands might not be the best idea
Right.
for everyone. And taking that 20-30 minute walk if you can, that might help you recover, reduce some stress, and just feel better overall.
Definitely. And it just it breaks up your day with whatever you're doing. Use it at, if you don't want to take notes or whatever with you, it breaks it up the day. It's a nice little study break. Go outside.
No, agreed. And even if you break it up into 5 or 10 minute bouts and you just take a 5 or 10 minute walk every hour, every other hour, I mean, you can easily get close to an hour of walking.
I do about,
4
to 5 20-minute walks throughout the day, and 20-minute walks I've noticed are about 2,000 steps. So you're already there at your, if that 10,000 marks your goal, and just 20 minutes, it's not going to kill you,
No,
especially from a time management standpoint.
Agreed.
I mean, 1 hour of your day, it's not, or, an hour 20 minutes, hour and a half, whatever you kind of want to walk, from a time management standpoint, I don't think it's going to have too much of an impact on you, on your day. As long as you're being productive throughout the day, obviously, but.
Right. Well, I appreciate you coming on with me here and discussing
No
this
problem.
for a
Always
while.
a pleasure.
Yeah. So if you're listening in, thank you for listening to episode 3 of the Brawn Body Podcast, all about the sedentary lifestyle. And stay tuned next week because we're going to be bringing you some better, happier news as we talk about all of the benefits of exercise and physical activity. So now you know why you need to start and why you need to stop being sedentary. And next week, we'll tell you all the amazing things that happen when you do that. So thanks again for listening. Stay safe, stay healthy, everyone.